Did you have the guy with the chainsaw chasing you? It's the craziest thing.
I didn't see a chainsaw.
No.
I do have this memory of a megaphone though.
Yeah.
There was a guy who, like, I passed him and he's like, come on, Jonathan, you can do it. You can do this. You can catch Dakota, because I was only a couple minutes behind Dakota and I was chasing him at that point. Like, you can do this, Jonathan. You can get him. And he like cheering me on, like, as I was hiking uphill. And then I get like 5 or 6 switchbacks up the trail. And then he pulls out his megaphone and he says the same thing. Come on, Jonathan. You can do it. And I was like, this guy is going all out. He like already got it. He like did his job. He cheered me on for a minute or two back there. And now he gets his megaphone out to keep going. Like, super fan.
Awesome.
It is incredible.
I love it.
Hey, we're back with another Gotta Run Racing podcast.
Sure are. And we're continuing our Javelina series.
And who's on the podcast today?
Well, today we have Jonathan Rea. He's a 31-year-old professional runner from Boulder, Colorado, sponsored by Hoka. And he's racking up his golden tickets. This is the third one that he's just earned at Javelina a couple weeks ago, where he broke the course record with a time of 12 hours and 43 minutes. He won Bandera in 2022, and he placed second at last year's Javelina. So he earned 2 golden tickets in the same year.
Yeah, I wonder if that's ever happened before, to actually accept 2 tickets in 1 year. Because people have won golden tickets, but it passes on, right?
Yeah, usually.
But he accepted both because he wants to get back to Western States.
I chat with him about all of this, plus his first international race at CCC just a couple months ago.
And we're going to talk about all this and more. Here's Jonathan coming up.
Welcome to the podcast, Jonathan, and big congrats on your 3rd golden ticket that you just achieved 2 weeks ago at Javelina.
Thanks so much. Yeah, glad to be here. Great to meet you too. And yeah, I'm really happy to have gotten a golden ticket. Proud of it. It doesn't feel any smaller than the first one. So.
We were wondering in the intro where do you put them all, but you should put it in the back wall there. It's a perfect spot.
That's true. They're on the back wall of a different room.
Oh, nice.
Researching your name, do you know that you have a very famous name?
Oh, I don't know how famous.
Well, the guy who
actually, I know there's a motorcycle racer
yes.
with my name. So
time
if you
world
Google
champion.
my name, you get a motorcycle racer. Yeah.
I think you're on the 10th page of Google, but he's on the first 9 pages.
Someday he'll know who I am.
Exactly. Okay, let's chat Javelina. We asked this of Blake Slattengren a couple of days ago, the same question. We're going to ask you. I don't ever understood in a 100-mile race start, well, everyone takes off like it's a 5K race. So did you take off? Did you get caught up in all the hype, or did you lead the charge at Javelina?
I did lead the charge.
Yeah.
I was the first onto the single track after you run through headquarters, and then it's like a quarter mile or so before you hit single track, and I was in the lead there.
Nice.
I knew I wanted to be near the front because last year I think I was in maybe 20th place going onto the single track, and it was really dusty. So I just remember just like my headlamp just showing a cloud of dust right in front of my face, and just breathing all of that in for that section. So I thought it was going to be useful to be near the front. But maybe also I was all geared up from CCC where we started off so fast that even starting fast by Javelina standards felt quite comfortable in comparison. So I was like, yeah, we can handle this. We didn't go too crazy. I don't think we were running like a little under 7-minute mile pace, but we weren't running 6-minute mile pace. So it's definitely a little bit fast, a little bit in focused at the very beginning, but I don't know. It's so much fun. It's like hard to contain that energy, and it seems stupid to spend it, but sometimes you gotta have a little fun.
We also said, because we chatted with Blake during the New York Marathon, and some guy takes off like a bat out of hell to get on camera, and then he dies 5 minutes later. So it's funny to see if that happened at Javelina, if someone just goes in front just to get on camera.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone do that this year.
Okay. You would push them.
Yeah. No, it would have been nice. I think it would have happened naturally. It wouldn't have had to.
Now, how quickly were you took off in the lead? Did you ever get overtaken at any point?
I was running step for step with Matt Daniels for the whole first lap, and Ryan Montgomery and a couple other guys also caught up to us. And so we were running with a pack of 5 or 6 of us in the second half of the first loop.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple places where like Preston Cates went ahead, and then Matt Daniels and Ryan Montgomery were also leading for a decent bit of, at least the uphill climbs. It seemed like they would push a little bit more and put a little bit of gap on the rest of the group, and then we would kind of combine again together on slight downhills.
Mm-hmm.
We were mostly running as a pack and all within inside of each other for that first lap.
Right.
And then on the second one, with that pack of like 5 or 6 runners split up a lot more than I expected to in the first headquarters transition. So like out of that aid station, it just like we were no longer a pack. We were all just kind of interspersed and spread out. It's like, okay, well, I guess that was fun. I was hoping we could have 2 laps worth of running as a pack, but I guess we only get 1.
It's easy to do because headquarters is huge. You lose track of people.
Yeah. And like any of us, I suppose, could wait and spend a little extra time in order to get the pack to keep going together. But lost time is hard to swallow when you're trying to compete. So I went out there running. I didn't like push the pace on the beginning of the second lap. I was hoping that a couple guys would catch back up, and Matt Daniels came and caught back up.
Mm-hmm.
And then he continued, like he was running a little bit faster pace in order to catch up, but it seemed like he locked into that faster pace and just stayed there, or maybe even increased it.
Mm-hmm.
So he passed me, and we ran together for a little bit during the pass, I suppose, but then he was ahead for all of lap 2.
Okay.
And pretty quickly was out of sight. So I was in second place for all of lap 2.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got back to the end of lap 2, back to headquarters, and I heard that he was throwing up. And that was bad news. And I was really sad to hear it because he's so fast. And I did a few training runs with him in Boulder. I think he's one of the best runners in the sport. And if he can put it together on race day, I think that's something special to watch. So I was hoping that it was going to be the 2 of us, Boulder runners, who were going to come away with the golden tickets. And I did expect him to be faster than me if he had a great day. So I wasn't upset with him being in front of me. I was like, that makes sense. That's fast. But he was throwing up, and so partway through lap 3 is when I was starting to hear people tell me I was in the lead, and then stayed there to the finish.
Nice.
Yeah, because when you get inside the main base, it gets confusing. But was your crew telling you, because it's not, you never did a washing machine before where you can see someone come towards you. So
no, I've only done it
in
the one direction. So yeah, you only know if you've passed them during the lap through headquarters, but even then it's easily that they're hidden in their tent or something else. So yeah, my crew is telling me, but that was all I had.
Was heat ever a factor for you? I know it wasn't super hot this year, but still it's hot enough out there. There's no shade. Yeah,
it was definitely hot enough to be a factor. In the section from Coyote to Jackass takes like an hour, and just a long time with no additional cooling. Like I would load up on some ice and dunk myself in water there, but man, yeah, definitely laps 3 and 4, that middle of the lap section, I felt really, really hot, to the point where it was hard for me to eat food, and I would feel a little nauseous if I ate something, and definitely pace slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was trying to like be very diligent about cooling at aid stations, like mid 80s. I don't know what the exact temperature was, whether it was like 83 or 85 or something like that. That's definitely still hot enough to me. Like ideal running temperature is what, in like the 40s?
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe for an ultra, it's a little hotter, but I feel like that's the number I've heard cited before as like the ideal marathon running temperature is in the mid 40s.
For sure.
So if it's hotter than that, then that means that you should be doing something to cool off to get back to that ideal temperature. And so 80 was way hotter than that. So I think I definitely like wasn't able to eat as much as I wanted to because of the heat, and then it definitely slowed pace a little bit, especially on lap 4. I think I lost a decent amount of time. So I either should have done a little more cooling, or I'm not sure what else to avoid losing quite as much time on lap 4. But
right.
Yeah, definitely hot enough to matter.
Now, loop 5, correct me if I'm wrong, but was that your fastest lap?
I'm not sure if it was faster than lap 2. Okay. And like loop 1 is a different course. There's a couple miles of it that are different, so hard to compare. But I'm not sure if the 5th one was faster or slower than the second one. But it was definitely faster than 3 and 4. Right. By a good chunk. Like I think it was 2:34, 2:43, and then 2:28. Okay. So I ran, definitely a lot faster. It was definitely a finishing kick. Like I was definitely kicking, and like effort level went up a lot.
At that point in the 5th loop, were you actively going after the record, or was that just sort of in the back of your mind and just maintain your pace and keep the lead and see what happens?
I definitely knew what the record time was, and I knew coming into headquarters that all I had to do was run a 2:45-ish. Maybe it was I guess depending on when I entered or when I left headquarters. Maybe I think I had to run a 2:43 last lap, which I had just done on loop 4, but that felt terrible and was slow. So I was like, okay, like, well, I'm slowing down a bit. That wasn't like a great, third quarter of the race, but all I have to do is hang on to that to get the course record. So I definitely still wanted to do that, and it was a motivator, and I thought it was possible that I could screw it up and I was gonna slow down even more. So I really wanted to make sure that wasn't gonna happen. So I wanted the first half of the last loop to be quality effort and a faster pace. So I made sure that happened. And then from there it was like, well, now that I'm here and I'm halfway through, I guess I might as well try to make it as fast as I can for the second half of this loop. So I was definitely working extra hard. But I think once the first half of that last loop went well, I was really confident that I was going to get the course record at least. Right. Because I was feeling strong at that point, and I knew the time gap was there.
Yeah, for sure. Would you go back to Javelina
to defend your title?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've had a good enough time there. I'd love to crew some year, just to experience that side of it as well. It seems like such a fun event just to be around. But yeah, I think the times will probably get faster within the next couple of years too.
I'm going to ask you that. Everyone, you have to be under 13 hours now.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. That makes sense to me. Like, why wasn't it there before? I don't know. It's just getting a little more competitive, but no, I think times can go significantly faster. Like I ran pretty slow on lap 4. I think there's 10 minutes out there just from that lap. And if it's a cooler year, then like times could definitely go significantly faster. Like people have run 100 miles way faster than the times at Javelina. And the course isn't perfect for running like a super, super fast time. It's not a track. It's not entirely flat, but it's not too far off from being able to run pretty fast. So I think it'll go a lot faster. And so maybe that would be my next motivating thing. Like I don't know if I'll need to go. Maybe I'll go back there for another golden ticket if I need to within the next year or 2. Or I could see myself going back there in a couple of years once that time's been lowered and the field becomes even better. Then that's just like a great competitive race. It's a fun one to do. So, or maybe I would even do something like Hal Kerner. Like Hal Kerner was back there running this year, even though like he's won the race before, but he was just a mid-packer basically.
Oh, I didn't know he ran this year.
It'd be a fun race to do even as a non-competitive.
Dress up in a costume.
You could have a world record probably.
I could actually just wear a costume and totally just do it for the fun.
But still set a world record.
Yeah, one of those gimmicky world records, like running a banana suit.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't even know what the world record is for 100 mile in a
costume. Yeah, I don't know. For 100 mile, I don't know.
Yeah.
In the marathon, I know it's 3 hours, around 3 hours. I think so. Or maybe less.
No, it's got to be less than that. Yeah.
Well, big congrats on Javelina, and now back to Western States. 3 times the charm?
I hope so. Yeah. I know for sure I'll try my best. I hope I've learned enough in the last 2 years. But yeah, I'm not taking it for granted. Like, it'll be its own thing. It's a long time from now, so I'm not like fully mentally preparing myself from now. I'll keep it at a distance until I really have to really understand the effort that's required to do well there. But I've had top 10 at Western States as a career ultra running goal that I set maybe 4 years ago. And that's when I decided to get a coach and start being more focused and dedicated towards being a competitive runner.
Right.
But I think my goal, and that was still somewhat of a goal in the last 2 years, and it's still like a career goal, but I think my sights are a little bit higher, that I would like to challenge for a podium position for sure. So maybe that's even the better mindset to go for it. And like, if I don't fully succeed, then I could still get the consolation prize of top 10. So maybe that's the thing that I'll come into it next year a little more ambitious, where if I'm just trying to get top 10, that's different than really going in and trying to do my absolute best, which is really independent of place or time, because the conditions of the day. But I want to be satisfied that I've gone out there and I've done my absolute best, which I haven't done there yet, but I really, really want to.
Well, we're going to be watching, and we feel that next year is going to be your year. We're
cheering for you. We're in your corner.
Thanks.
But Jonathan, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us tonight, and best of luck next year.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's been fun. Great to meet you. Best of luck to Gotta Run Racing too.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and say hello to Megan for us.
Yeah, please do.
I definitely will share stories with teammates at RMI, Meg Morgan. We'll get to run Western States again with. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
That'd be good.
Wow. All right. All the best. Thanks again.
Yeah, you as well.
Okay.
Have
Cheers.
a great evening, late night.
Right.
And that was Jonathan Rea from Boulder, Colorado, fresh off his win at Javelina Jundred.
Breaking records there is going to be harder and harder. You have to be sub 13. Jeez. But he says, why not?
Well, like you said, there's places to save time, and it's going to be more and more competitive as more people come to that race.
Yeah, and hopefully he comes to Canada soon. But all the best at next year, Western States. Yes. Come on, 3 times a charm. Let's go.
Let's go.
I like how we said, you know what? I'm gonna go for top 3 podium, and hope to get top 10.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta get the bench high to.
And I hope he can channel the fire that he found at CCC, knowing that he's competing against worldwide professional runners, and look where it got him. 4th place. That's incredible. Yeah. So very exciting. All right.
And that concludes tonight. So we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Bye.